Okay, so I started recording again. Let's go and do that. Remember, there's 3 places we have to do to add a new action. The controller itself, so let's go to the controller. Our say controller, we can add a new method called go away. And let's do it with an underscore just to show you that they all have to be the same. Go away, we can't have spaces, but that's a valid method name. Now we need a new file in our say controller, and it's an ERB file. We're going to call it go_away.html. And we need to modify our routes file, which is in the config folder. And we're going to add a line that looks like this, go_away. Now in our browser, we can now say go_away. Notice the URL also has to match that same thing. So here's the page that comes up. All right, any questions on that? All right, where does this yo, Dave, and later come from? It comes from the application.html layout. I put those, that shows up on every page. And remember, this yield command shows up whatever I put in the view for a particular controller. So this yield gives me everything from one of these files. So if I change my go away, and I had something here, please go away, and reload my go away file from the browser, I'll now have my yo, Dave, and go away, please go away, and later. See that? So this part here, the please go away, comes from the view, and the rest of it comes from the application. All right? Any questions on that? All right. So let's start working out the necessary elements we need to create our website. So we already have the HTML. The designers threw us some CSS, and they threw us some HTML, and they threw us maybe some JavaScript files and all the images. And we have to turn that into a Rails application, which is your first assignment that's due Monday. So we need a few things that are very Rails-ish to convert some of this HTML stuff and put it in the right place. So let's talk about a few commands. Remember that when I had a %sign equal, like it looks like an HTML tag, what does that mean? Embedded Ruby. So I can do anything I want in here. I can say 2 + 2, and what will that output at that location on the page? All right, so let's do it. I now see please go away for, and then the later. So there are some commands. If I go to the api.rubyonrails.org site, this is a place that you'll spend a lot of time in. And there's a command called image tag. So if I search for that here on the left, it shows up the image tag. Let me just put that over here real quick. Image tag, and this is the name of a command, which, what does that look like? A method. It's a Ruby method that has already been written for you that does some nice stuff for you. So we're going to convert all the images in our site to these image tags. And the reason we do that is because it gives us a lot of things for free. So we'll play with some of that right now. So the image tag is a method. It tells you what you need. The source is the name of the tag, the name of the image. Okay? So let's, all of our images are going to be stored in this folder called assets. Now notice these all look like what I was forcing you to create your website in. All your images go in the images folder. All your JavaScript go in the JavaScript folder. All your style sheets go in the style sheet folder. So in your images folder, there is a file that they already give you called rails.ping. just for fun, they throw in this thing when you create a new project. So if I want to display that image on my page, I'm going to call the image tag method and pass it the name of the file that I want to display here. All right? So I don't need parentheses around it. You won't see this often, but this is a method with one parameter, and it's passing the name of the file, and this will output the HTML source that represents getting that image. So it's going to output an image source equals all of that stuff necessary to display an image. Yes?
My application folder doesn't have assets in it.
Then you didn't create your application as a 3.1 version of Rails. So one way to look at that is if you go and look at the gem file, open up the gem file. Yep.
Yeah, okay.
So your best bet is to throw that away and recreate a whole new one,
Okay.
unfortunately.
So I guess that leads me to the question of if I want to work on this here and at home, should I be bringing my laptop in?
No, you should be able to transfer that back and forth, but because you run the bundle install, it's going to install version 3.09 at home because that's what this file told you to run. So this project is going to run 3.09 for you. If I could just change this to 3.1.0 and rerun bundle install, but it doesn't recreate all this stuff that you need. So you're better off recreating the project on your flash drive, and then you can copy it back and forth between your home computers. No. Just like a string in Rails, what does a double quote do versus a single quote? It's just a Ruby thing. Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't matter except that there is, a picosecond of difference between the two because it doesn't have to evaluate anything if it's got single quotes. If it has double quotes, it's going to look for those special characters like /n and escape characters and convert those into other characters. Or even expressions. Remember, we could put expressions inside of a quoted string. So
When I make a new project, how do I tell it?
So under new, you say, instead of an empty project, you say Rails application, and then you say the Rails version.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
Okay? Good question, though. All right, so we want to load this rails.ping in our file in my, where was I? Go away. So here's my image tag. This is a method name in Ruby. This is the parameter. So let's reopen our page and see what I get. Ta-da! Got a nice, cool little image here. If I look at the source file, you'll see that it created this entire image, HTML image tag for me just by calling that method name. All right, pretty cool. Later on, I'll show you what's a few other cooler things with this. As they've changed it with Rails 3.1 versus Rails 3.09 and below. It used to be that they added a query string to this ping that was used for cache busting. Now they only do it in production mode. So someday later this week, I'll probably convert to production just to show you what happens. But for now, it created this entire HTML properly formatted, quoted with an alt tag, HTML tag for the image. So the browser, so it's all created for me. I didn't have to remember to put the alt tag in.
Where does it get the alt tag?
It gets the alt tag from the name of the image. Now that's just a default. I can always change that if I want. So if I look at the documentation over here, it says I can supply a value called alt and give it a name of a string. So let's do that. I can add another parameter. I separate these by commas. And what is this in Ruby? Starts with an S. It's a symbol. Very good. It's a symbol, which just means a thing that has some meaning to the program, the method called image tag. So if I pass in the symbol called alt and I give it this notation, what does that notation look like? No? It's a hash. This is one element of a hash. Remember how we created hashes? The key and the value. The key is a symbol called alt. The value is a string called this is an image. So if I use that, I pass that parameter, which is optional, and I reload my page over here and look at the source. There we go. So I reloaded it. My alt now says whatever I passed in as the string, the value portion of that alt, that key value hash piece. All right? Make sense? All right, so there's lots of other things I can pass in. I can pass in the size. The size is another key value pair, and I pass a string which represents the size of the image. So if I pass in another comma, and I say size, and a string of 30, let's make it 100 by 100. Width and height. Width first, height second. For some reason that seems backwards to me, so I always get it wrong. It takes me twice to do this right. Width first, height second. Reverse alphabetical order. That's what throws me all the time. All right, so if I do that, I'm adding a size parameter. Oops. And I reload this page here. I now have a width that's properly formatted and a height that's properly formatted.
Why is it separated around the source?
I have no idea.
Okay.
It doesn't in an image tag. It doesn't matter. These are name value pairs. Remember, name equals value, and you can have in any order. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I don't know why. All right, so let's look at some more image tag. There's another one which is really cool. You guys, the problem is you haven't had Java. Who's had JavaScript in here? A couple. Did you do mouse overs? Were they kind of a pain in the tushy to figure out how to get the on mouse over, on mouse out, on click, all that kind of stuff? They have a mouse over that automatically works for me, but I need another image. So let me go and search for a quick image here. What do I want? Let's just save. Let's just say I don't know what this is. It could get me in trouble, but let's see. Let's save this as an image, put it on my desktop so I can get at it. Open up my desktop. Look at my desktop. Here's my image. So what I want to do is copy that into my assets folder in my images folder. I'm going to call it, it's called images.jpg, which is, let's call it something else. Let's call it flag.jpg. Right? And I just copy that into my images folder. And it says, you want to move that? Yes. So now in my project, my Rails project, I have another file called flag.jpg. And in my method call here, I can add another piece of text that is the symbol mouse over and the name of another file. And in this case, it's going to be flag.jpg.
Yeah, is there a way to drag that into there or get type that in?
I don't know. Never tried it. Nope. That just shows you the image. All right, so there's my mouse over. I told it when the mouse is over, I want to display a different image instead of the one that's by default off. Okay? So let's go look at that in my demo. It says, please go away. Now, when I hover over that, look at that. Sweet. Isn't that cool? This is used a lot in buttons. You want to show that some action is happening. You want to pushing the button. I'm pushing the button, something like that. So that's a quick way to get some mouse over animation without writing a lick of JavaScript. Let's look at the source code. I think I have it open already. Reload my source code. And you'll see that they actually have created this mouse over event, and they set this.source. And they have some JavaScript that they're loading automatically for you up here that actually does the rollover for you. So that's a nice way to do rollovers. Really pretty cool. Isn't that slick? You guys don't appreciate it because you haven't done JavaScript yet, but that is just sweet.
Can we use this when we do take JavaScript or write our JavaScript?
No. Nope. Nope. All right. So that's what I can do with my image tag. Pretty cool stuff. I would replace all of my standard image source equals with this image tag, and we gain some things with this that are really nice in production. It might seem like a little bit of work to start with, but in reality, you gain a lot in production, so it's really worth it. So that's image tags. Any questions on image tags? All right. How about links? That's another thing that we need to have. We want to have href, you know, the A tags with the href and all that good garbage. We want to create links in our document all the time. And so there's a method called link to. All right, so let's go look at the API for link to. And let's see what we got here. Yeah. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to pass some information in here. It gives us lots of different things we can pass in. Pause. Let's link to one of our other methods in here. I could say link to and just give it the name like say / hello. Right? And that will generate, or should generate, a link in my page, similar to the way the image tag was created. So there's a say hello tag created. It filled it in. If I look at my source again, I should leave that open. If I look at my source, I see it created the entire href tag and the closing A tag, and it gave me, since I didn't pass anything else in, it tried to figure out what the click text would be, what I call the click text, or the body of this A tag. All right? So I can also, let's look at the documentation. I can also say I want to change the name of the link to something else. So I can say something like, I want it to be just hello. All right? If I go and look now and reload my source, the click text has now changed to hello. You see that? hello. That's the body of the text. And the link has stayed the same. So I can add those nice things here in the link text. I can also tell it to go to a particular controller and action. So I can say, let's see, find an example of that here. I can tell it the profiles here. I mean the controller. And let's look at, instead of a link, an actual physical link, I can say pass the controller, and I want to go to the say controller, and I want to go to the action. It's going to be the hello. And Rails will figure out what the real URL is supposed to be. And this is important later on when we get to changing the routes, because the routes will actually affect how this ends up being. So let's reload that. And it looks the same. The URL is identical. It created this link, the say controller, the hello action, based on the parameters that I passed into it. All right? Isn't that cool? So let's put a couple of links in here. Let's put a UL tag. And then let's put some li tags. And let's add some more links here. Let's add a bunch of them. Let's link to the goodbye. And that's going to be the say controller and the goodbye method. And notice RubyMine figures out that I have a method, so the IntelliSense actually works here. I want to link to yo, and same say controller, but the yo action. I want to link to help, same controller, help action. And that looks kind of like a menu bar, doesn't it? So let's see what it looks like over here. So I've got, I've got two. Let's change this to, what else did I have? Go away. All right, so there's a navigation bar, which I could style and make it look however I wanted. But now I've got links to go to each of my various pages that I have on my website. All right, isn't that cool? So I can go to help, which has nothing. But why, if I go to another page, why doesn't my navigation stay there? It's only on that page, right? So I need to move this someplace where it's going to be on every page. Where will this be on every page? In the application layout, application.html. So I'm going to put it up here next under my body. I'll put a P tag around it just for Hillary. And we got a UL tag, and I've got my links here. Let's make it all look nicer, just because. All right, so I've got a nice little nav bar now that should show up on every single page. So let's reload my page. Yo Dave works. I go to my Go Away Dave. That has some more that it got from the view page plus my nav bar. I go to my Yo page. My Yo is there. Help. All of these links work for me. Isn't that great? Got a nice little nav there. Nothing is there except what's in the application page, which is this Yo Dave and the later stuff here. All right, isn't that cool? Now, wouldn't it be nice? Now, I'm hoping they didn't change this. The problem is they came out with 3.1 in August, late August, and it doesn't give me a lot of time to fix things. There's a method called link to unless current, which is pretty cool. Let's say I don't want to have a link show up to take me to the same page. Right? If I'm on the hello page, this shouldn't be an active link. I can take that out from being an active link. So I can say link to unless current instead of just a link to. And now when I go to this page, my link goes away. If I'm on the hello page, my link goes away. If I'm on a different page, my link comes back. Isn't that slick?
And now is that behind the scenes JavaScript as well?
It's not JavaScript, it's just Rails.
What's going away?
The link tech, the clickability of clicking on my hello page. Isn't that cool? So I could change all of these to link to unless current. Reload my page. And now the link will go away if I'm on that particular page. So you can use that and use that in your style sheets to change whether or not it's highlighted or something like that. There's lots of ways to get around that. But that's kind of some cool stuff that's just built right into Rails. All right, any questions on that? All right, and we went through last, either it was Monday or last Thursday, we talked about the Stylesheet Link Tag and the JavaScript Include Tag. These allow you to include CSS files, and they actually create, they create the Stylesheet link HTML necessary to include that style sheet. So again, if I look at my source page, all of that, these links here were created from this Stylesheet Link Tag and the JavaScript Link Tag. These typically always go in your application or your main layout page because they're going to show up on every page. All right?
Okay, so if I have some CSS, do I put the text of the CSS file into that application?
Yes. So we're going to do that next. Yep. So let's start. Any questions on what we have so far? I think we have enough with just those two methods and the style sheets to do your website. But you're going to have to change. You're going to have to do some changing around of some stuff of the source code that you have, and that's your whole assignment. But I'm going to take the code. I chose a website, and I'm going to take that and go through it here in class. All right? So let's just start by looking at my website. Where is it? Pause. Typically what we get from a developer or a designer is a file like this. We're going to get images. We might get JavaScript. We're going to get an index.html page that looks like that's got a bunch of stuff on it. All right? Then we're going to have some various style sheets, a print style sheet, a regular style sheet, and this lightbox one, which is important. Then we got all these images, tons of images that I might have that are necessary for the website. So let's open up the index.html. Unfortunately, it's going to open up in IE. And here's what the page looks like. And some of the sites that I've gotten, they put this kind of garbage all over to show you the different styles of things that they want. Now, each page might end up actually functionally being quite different, but this shows you what we can do. And we'll play with some of this later. The pull-down menus, this navigation is going to have to be changed to put the link to methods in. These images here, this background image, has got to be changed to an image tag, all of that kind of stuff. I might change this name here to be my own website. All right? Your compelling tagline, obviously, I wouldn't publish that. It's got to be something else. So all of that is just a basic layout. And what I always do is I start with that main file, and I start chipping away at it. I take pieces of it out and convert it piece by piece into the Rails application, putting the files in the right place. So where would I put this file here? This background image. See, I hate IE, I hate IE, I hate IE. Let me open it with something else. So here's under, this is the image. It's called images/bluenightsky.ping. Okay, so where do I put that? I'm going to put it all in my images folder under the assets folder. So I can do that. I can just start playing with that and copy all of the images, including the subfolders, because the CSS and things are going to be expecting those to be in that location. So I'm going to select all of those, and I'm going to copy them into my Rails application.
So you just drag and drop them.
Drag and drop them. It'll ask you, you sure? You say yes. So now I've got, whoa.
That was right. Yeah, watching the
It didn't,
There were some folders.
yeah, it didn't create my folders. I wonder.
Yeah, it's building folders in there, and then copying into those.
You shouldn't have to.
Does it respect some folders inside the image?
Yeah. Huh. I think it's just a RubyMine not recognizing it yet.
Nice way, Brenda, would you just create a folder with the same name?
Oh, it didn't copy them. I guess I just didn't. Huh. That's weird. That's a Windows 7 thing. Let's try it again. I don't like it. So you can always, you can create a new folder, and we'll call it whatever it needs to be here, which is gallery. That's weird. Works on my Mac. And then copy the files individually. Control A, copy, drag, drop. Bada boom, bada bing. Should be fine now. There we go. All right. Then we take our the other one, the Lightbox images. So I need to call it, create a new folder called Lightbox images, all one word. Copy all of those. Put them into my folder. So now I have all the images in the right place. Now Rails knows where they are. I know where they are. I can write image tag methods to go and get those and display them on the page. So we'll continue with that tomorrow, carving up the HTML, figuring out what goes in the application side and what goes in the views side. So we'll start creating our menus. We'll change the menu structure to match what you have, and it'll all be fun.
So we go that same way with the JavaScript and style sheets?
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. So you guys can do that now, and then we'll work on the rest of it tomorrow. All right.